What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to another video, another day, another dollar. We're looking at our futures contract per usual. Not a whole lot's changed. Um, as far as I can tell you guys, not a whole lot has changed. Other than we're back to a balance on the daily. Our daily time frame went from one time framing up one singular day, one day, and here we are back to a balance. We are back to a 3-day balance. We failed pretty badly at an outside day down for the sellers. We got below the 20-day moving average initially, early on this morning, and then ended up, boom, pushing back up to the upside, closing back inside of the previous day's range. So pretty volatile this morning once the CPI came out, hotter than expected. Not that that's the reason the whole market moved, but it definitely picked up in volatility and volume. Not crazy volume today versus the average, slightly above what we were expecting for the average. So, not, like I said, not a whole lot to discuss other than just putting ourselves back into a balance on the daily time frame. So we'll go ahead and get that updated, and then we'll look at our 30-minute time frame. But here's what our daily balance was. We were initially in a 3-day, or excuse me, a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6-day balance. We came out of it yesterday, attempting to push up. And something I'm going to note here in the 30-minute time frame is not only how close all three of these daily highs are. Today's high, that high back from December 29th and December 28th, how close those are, but the fact that we keep dipping our toe into the upper distribution from that trend day down on the 29th. We dip our toe into that upper distribution, and we've failed 2 times now up here. All right, so tomorrow will be very interesting to see what we do. Will we, come back out of balance to the upside and get finally get the weekly balance high, or will we chop around in today's range? As today's range was, not a small range. I was looking at the wrong thing. Not a small range. 59 points was today's range. Our average range has been roughly 40 points. We exceeded that today by a pretty large margin. But like I said, failed at an outside day down, closed back inside of the previous day's range. But, buyers still proving to be in control for the most part, despite coming back into a balance. I did end up taking off the rest of that swing trade and SPY that I had, as we do only have one more day until expiration on that. Ended up, netting on the last 10 about $1,100. So once again, it was a paper trade, but buying down here to get the move that I wanted, and then ended up profiting on it, was a very good trade in my opinion. Roughly 4 days is what I waited out, and ended up netting over about $4,000 on that trade. So really good trade on the swing trade. But we did take out the previous day's low, coming back into a balance. So that, proved for me, that was enough to get out of the trade. That was a stop, right? Once we stopped the one-time framing up, that's when I wanted to get out of the trade. So let's go ahead and update the balance here. Balance high going to be 48.3225. That is going to be our daily balance high. Let me get this back to where we can see. 32.25 is going to be today's high. And we attempted a one-time frame up again, right? We did try to take out the previous day's high, but it just did not last very long. Did not spend very much time up there. So you can do one of two things. You can either call this a 4-day balance using, was this Wednesday's low, right? I think that's Wednesday. Was it Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday? Oh, excuse me. Using Monday's low, you could do that and have a 4-day balance, or you can do what I'm going to do, which is use Tuesday's low, and we'll call it a 3-day balance. So whether we take out today's high, we will resume one-time framing up, or we take out Tuesday's low, which would cause us to one-time frame down at that point. One way or another, this tight range here is what we're going to call as our balance. So from the low of 67.50, 67.50 is now going to be our balance low, to 48.3225 balance high. So tomorrow, if we open up inside today's range and can't take out the high, expect a whole lot of chop inside of this range. until obviously we have some more clear market generated information leading us to get out of this market one way or the other. Now keep in mind, balance rules, once again, balance rules came into effect today. All right. So 3 balance rules, right? Keep them in mind. Balance rules are the most important rules of all time from what I've been learning. Thanks to Paul Asmar. Huge shout out to him. Go check out his channel or camelbacktrading.org if you want to check that out. Anyway, balance rules, right? We have 3 of them. You either get near a balance high, fail to push through it, roll over. You push through a balance high, stretching it slightly. So that would mean getting above 39.75 by about 5 points or so, and then coming back into the range and then closing back inside that range. That would be stretching it. Or you do the third, which is push through and away from that balance high. So I mean getting through 39.75 weekly balance high and going trend up, setting higher on the year and getting the weekly from one time frame or from balance to one time frame and up. Okay. But that all depends on what we do in the daily first, right? That depends on what we do in the daily first. So if the daily fails to come out of balance to the upside, okay, fails to come out of balance on the upside, right? If it fails to take out 32.25 on the upside, then we will be failing at a weekly balance high up here, okay? So if we cannot take out 32.25 tomorrow or in the future, right, if we remain in this balance, the daily has to go one way or the other. It's either got to come out to the upside, prove that buyers are still in this market and get above the weekly high, and, you know, we do roll number 3, which is push 2 through and away from it, or we'll do roll number 1, which is get near it and then roll over, which would result in us taking out our daily balance low, and then we'd go and test our weekly balance low, which is all the way down here at 46.53, which is what buyers do not want to see. Buyers do not want to come back down to that balance low of 46.53. That would be very, very bad. 50-day moving average slowly creeping up to that area. So if we were to fail up here at the balance high on the weekly time frame, come all the way back down, we would be most likely testing our 50-day moving average for the first time since November 9th. Okay, so that'd be the last time we were right around that area. So over 2 months ago was the last time we seen the 50-day moving average. So it'd be very interesting to see if we were to pull back, if we were to hold it, and how we'd react there. All right, that's enough on the larger time frame. Let's get into our 30-minute time frame. I did take 2 trades today, one loser, one a winner. Net overall ended up losing about what I end up losing. $125 after commission, essentially. So if you look at our performance here, 22% win rate, 77% losing rate, lost $125 on the day. So not terrible. Keeping the losses to a minimum is key. So we definitely were down a little bit more. We were down about 250 on the day, 280, because I got short because we had been grinding up higher all day after failing to go have an outside day down, failing to go trend down after getting an initial balance low. So, you know, and then failing to get this low day down here at 67.50. We grinded up and I attempted to get short against B's high, which was 14.75. I got short 08, 07. We just grinded up. I took that trade off. Eventually it did end up coming in. I even thought about having my stop up here at the open, which was 27. And, you know, it would have paid, but just, you know, not very much. So I got out of the trade for a loss, re-entered late in M period. It rolled over just enough for me to recoup about a buck 25, and then I was out of that trade just for a quick scalp to kind of gain back on the day. Now let's discuss what happened. Enough about my trade. Let's discuss what happened. We opened up an A period right at the top of the previous day's range. Positive, right? Positive for the buyers. Very positive. But we failed to find any acceptance in that upper distribution from that day, right? The upper distribution from that day on the 29th of December, right? That upper distribution being from 27 to 35. Okay. I said that in yesterday's video. It is going to be key for us to hold in this area if the buyers had any chance or any hope of getting our weekly balance high, 39.75 all-time high. Okay. We failed. We pushed up an A period, immediately rejected down. Your next downside destination after doing so, and we started one time framing down in B period, the next downside destination was your afternoon pullback low. And because it's not textbook afternoon pullback low, it was just a pullback that happened to have held around the 4,800 level. It wasn't much to lean on, but that was going to be a target on the downside. So say you short 4808, which is A's low, you're using the high of that time frame as your out, 4814, and then you're looking for 4801, 4800, right? You would have gained 9 to 8 points on the downside. Even more so if you would have been targeting this 92 level. So the risk reward trade was there on the downside. And even so in B period or in C period, when we took out, or once the initial balance was established, we pushed up. You could have taken a short against the single prints that we had at the time to come back and test the initial balance low. So you're getting short right around 4806, or even where the single prints filled, 4808. Get short right around there using 14 once again as your out to rotate down to 86. Great risk reward trade there. We did eventually get the initial bounce low, that previous day's low. Pushed lower, attempted to go trend once again. And by trend, I mean we're one time framing down and we're holding single prints, okay? If you'd like me to identify single prints in a different video, I can do such, but right now we're just going to kind of run through this, try to keep this video shorter than usual. But once we got that low day, we pushed lower and we couldn't quite, right? The extension below previous time frames low began to decrease, right? We had good extension below A's low and B period from 4808 to setting a low at 8625. And then C period was an inside bar. D took out 8625, set a new low at 7550. Decent extension, but was significantly less than what B period did. And then E period only took out D's low by about 4 points. Okay, so not even a whole lot. And then we ended up coming in with the inside bar, stopping the one time framing down. Then we one time framed up for the remainder of the day, just grinding back up toward the open. So today we only go out with the day's high and the day's low. All right. Today's high being 32.25, right in that upper distribution from the previous day, or not the previous day, but from that previous trend day down on the 29th. That's where our high day's at, and our low day being 72.75. So not a whole lot there for us to lean against either way. So if we open up in today's range, expect a whole lot of chop. If we do open up in today's range tomorrow, I most likely will not be trading. I'll probably just turn off my computer and just let this thing chop around, because yes, there will be trades, but it'd be your worst risk reward, right? Whenever you open up inside the previous day's range, inside the previous value, that's your worst of risk rewards, right? You want to have some type of market generated information to lead you to think that this market's going to go one way or the other. When you open up inside a previous day's range, it's very difficult to read that. Kind of like today, nobody was expecting us to grind up the way we did, right? We had one time frame down, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 time frames in a row. We stop it, and then we start one time framing up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 time frames in a row back to the upside, stop it, and then we just kind of chop here. So if we open up around this 48.14 level, just expect a whole lot of chop. That's all I gotta say. Just expect a whole lot of chop. If you're someone who can scalp that, do your thing, but I'm not about it. So let's go ahead and mark our low day, give you some downside destinations just in case, and then the upside destinations by this point. So if we open up in today's range, right, there's no wide point of control, no afternoon pullback low, There's nothing to lean against. Very large range, 59 points worth of room to chop around in, okay? However, let's just say if we open below 48.15, because I think that's where we put in a lot of volume today, right? 48.15, we open below that. Downside destination is going to be 72.75, 67.50, which is our balance low in the daily. Below that, you'll get into the single prints where they fill at 52.75. Lower distribution at 47.38. I'm not expecting that. Sellers had their chance today to really do some damage. They couldn't do it as they were short-time traders. So on the upside, if we open above 48.15, be careful trading above, taking longs above 27 into that 35 range. If we get above those areas with good tempo, I would still be cautious, but you could definitely get long getting into that 39.75 level, and then the grind to the upside would continue, and then obviously we'd be coming out of that weekly balance to the upside, but you'd have to be careful because we could either be stretching it at that point or we could be taking it out, which would be a very, very good thing. So keep that in mind. A lot to on the table for play tomorrow. We'll see where we open up, how we trade. Like I said, if we open up in today's value and range, most likely not going to trade it. It just will not be worth it. We'll probably put in a Y point of control. And, those days are typically not bad to trade because they can be rotational, but it's a little more difficult to read. And you got to be a lot more patient trading those. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you all have a wonderful day. If you guys caught, part of this move on the downside, congratulations. If you caught the grind up, congratulations. I hope you all did well. We'll catch you guys in the next one. See ya.